The sound of silverware clinking amidst the soft laughter filled the room, creating a comforting symphony of noises. However, tonight, the atmosphere was charged with tension, palpable enough to slice through. I stood by the bar cart, pouring myself another whiskey in an attempt to drown out the conversations of our guests. The laughter seemed hollow, resembling a distant echo that taunted the unease within me. David, are you going to join us? Pam's voice pierced through, sharp and demanding, drawing me back into the tumult of our dinner gathering. Her smile was overly bright, akin to a lighthouse directing ships into a tempest. I managed a grin, though it felt more like a grimace. I'm coming, I responded, my voice barely above a whisper. I placed the glass down, acutely aware of its weight, the warmth of the whiskey clashing with the chill seeping into my bones. I turned to face our guests, a blend of friends and colleagues, all seemingly oblivious to the storm brewing between Pam and myself. Let's make a toast, Pam declared, lifting her glass high. The crystal sparkled in the light, scattering it into countless tiny stars. To friends, love, and honesty. She fixed her gaze on me, unwavering, and I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. To honesty, I repeated, though the word left a bitter taste in my mouth. I clinked my glass against hers, and the hollow sound echoed in my ears. I sensed the eyes of our guests upon me, filled with curiosity and expectation. As the evening progressed, I attempted to participate in the discussions, but my thoughts were elsewhere, ensnared in a cycle of anxious contemplation. What was she scheming? I knew Pam well enough to recognize that her laughter and flirtation with the other guests were mere facades, masks hiding something far more sinister. David, stop brooding, she interjected suddenly, her voice slicing through my reverie. You're spoiling the atmosphere. I responded that I was fine, perhaps a bit too hastily. The reality was that I was not fine at all. I felt like a tightly wound spring, poised to snap. The atmosphere in the room changed abruptly as Pam rose and clinked her glass once more, this time with a sense of urgency that sent a wave of anticipation through the air. I have something to share, she declared, her tone both playful and serious. My heart began to race. What would follow? I had been harboring a secret, she went on, her eyes sparkling with mischief, but tonight, I believe it is time to reveal it. I am uncertain how to express this gently, so I will be direct. I have been seeing someone else. The room fell into silence, the laughter and conversation dissipating like steam on a chilly night. I felt a hitch in my breath. I glanced at our guests, their eyes wide, mouths agape. Pam, what are you doing? I began, but she waved her hand dismissively. Allow me to finish, David. You deserve to hear everything. She leaned against the table, a smirk dancing on her lips. I have been with Mark for 6 months now. He is everything you are not. A collective gasp resonated throughout the room, and I felt heat rise to my cheeks. I wished to vanish, to sink into the soft carpet beneath my feet. The embarrassment permeated my very being, and I could sense the judgment of our friends piercing the air like arrows. Wow, Pam. That is quite bold. One of our guests stuttered, attempting to alleviate the tension. Bold. Pam laughed, a harsh sound that reverberated in my ears. It was about time I said it. I deserve happiness, don't you agree? Each word struck like a dagger, burrowing deeper into my abdomen. I cast a glance at Mark, her lover, the arrogant fool, who bore a look of victory. He leaned nonchalantly against the wall, arms folded, a smug smile fixed on his face. Why would you choose this place? I managed to utter, my voice scarcely above a whisper, because I wanted everyone to be aware. She responded, her eyes shining with a frenzied light. You cannot conceal the truth, David. It is freeing to finally be truthful. Truthful, I retorted, the fury rising to the surface. This is not truth. This is disgrace. Perhaps it is a combination of both, she countered, unshaken. You have been so engrossed in your work, neglecting everything else. I required someone who recognizes me, who values me for my true self, who you are. I shook my head, astonished. You mean who you pretend to be? The guests shifted uncomfortably, their gazes darting between us, the tension palpable enough to cut. I could sense the murmurs starting, the judgment swirling like a tempest overhead. David, please, Pam said, her tone suddenly gentler, almost imploring. I did not wish for it to reach this point, but then why did you? I interjected. Why now? Why in this place? Because, she hesitated, her confidence wavering for just a moment. I wanted you to experience the feelings I endured for all those years. The words lingered in the atmosphere, laden with significance. I sensed the rise of pain and anger clashing for supremacy within me. Do you believe this will cause me pain? Do you think I will break down? Pan's smile diminished, overshadowed by something more sinister, a flicker of doubt. All I desired was freedom. David, you made me feel confined. Confined. I let out a bitter laugh, the sound sharp and jarring. You are the one who ensnared yourself in this deception. Before she could reply, I turned and exited the room, the laughter and murmurs trailing behind me like a dark specter. I required space. To breathe, to contemplate. I stepped into the refreshing night air, the stars shimmering above, seemingly apathetic to the turmoil I was leaving in my wake. As I walked the patio, my heart raced. The truth of Pam's betrayal crashed over me like a frigid wave. I could sense the anger bubbling just beneath the surface, a powerful blend of fury and humiliation. I needed to regroup, to discover a way to reclaim my existence. But how? I glanced back at the house, the laughter now a faint echo. I could see Pam through the window, a queen in her own tumultuous court, delighting in the attention her revelation had attracted. And there was Mark, leaning in closely, whispering sweet nothings into her ear. In that moment, I felt a rush of resolve. I would not allow her to define me. I would not be a pawn in her twisted game. I retrieved my phone from my pocket, my fingers quivering as I composed a message to my lawyer. We must have a conversation. Urgent. Night air was brisk as I departed from the house, the streetlights flickering like fireflies in the night. I required a strategy, a means to uncover the flaws in our marriage, to disclose the reality of Pam's manipulations. The bar down. The street was softly illuminated, a cozy place where I had frequently found comfort. This evening, it seemed like a sanctuary from the turmoil of my existence. I pushed open the door. The familiar aroma of whiskey and stale beer enveloping me like a warm blanket. I settled into a booth in the corner, the gentle murmur of conversation swirling around me. The bartender, an older gentleman with a knowing smile, approached. The usual. Yes, I responded, my voice barely above a whisper. As I savored my drink, I couldn't shake the sensation of being watched. It was a small town, and news spread quickly. I could already envision the gossip circulating, the whispers of my disgrace, resonating through every social circle. Hey, are you all right? A voice broke into my thoughts. I looked up to see an old friend, Sarah, sliding into the booth opposite me. You appear as though you've seen a ghost. More like I've been haunted, I murmured, taking another swig of whiskey. What transpired? Her brow knitted with concern. I hesitated, the words weighing heavily on my tongue. Pam revealed her affair. In front of everyone. Oh, David, I am so sorry. Her eyes grew wide. That's terrible. It was a sight to behold, I remarked bitterly, the anger resurfacing, and now I am left to gather the fragments. Are you planning to confront her? I inhaled deeply, the gravity of the question hanging heavily in the atmosphere. I must do more than just confront her. I need to seize control of this situation before it completely unravels. David, you are a decent man. You do not deserve this. I understand, I responded, my voice barely above a whisper. However, that does not alter what has transpired. I must determine my subsequent actions. As the evening progressed, I strategized my approach. I could not allow Pam and Mark to triumph. They believed this was a game, an opportunity to disgrace me in Basque. Following their treachery, I would reverse the situation. When I finally emerged from the bar, the moon was high in the sky, casting a silvery light over everything. I experienced an unusual sense of clarity washing over me. I would reveal Pam for who she truly was, not only to our friends, but to everyone who had ever admired her meticulously constructed persona. I reached for my phone once more, sending a message to a few close friends, inviting them to gather at my residence. I required allies, individuals who would support me in the impending storm. The following morning, I met with my attorney, a straightforward woman named Karen who had encountered her share of tumultuous divorces. As I recounted Pam's betrayal, her demeanor shifted from compassion to resolve. This is not merely about your marriage, David. It concerns your reputation and your future. We can leverage her actions against her. I nodded, feeling a sense of empowerment blossoming within me. I aim to reveal her true nature. I want everyone to recognize her for who she genuinely is. Karen reclined in her chair, her demeanor exuberant. Then, we will compile evidence, emails, texts, anything that can be utilized. It is time to reverse the situation. In the following days, I immersed myself in the strategy. I reached out to friends who had observed Pam's manipulations, those who had witnessed her flirtation with Mark long before the affair came to light. I collected evidence, assembling the timeline of her betrayal like a detective on a case. As I progressed, I felt the burden of humiliation gradually lift, replaced by an increasing sense of determination. I was no longer the victim. I was the one in command, When the day finally arrived to confront Pam once more, I experienced a blend of anticipation and nervousness. I invited her to meet me at a local cafe, the same one where we had shared numerous joyful moments. I arrived early, my palms clammy as I awaited her arrival. The cafe buzzed with conversation, yet it felt remote, like white noise in my mind. I looked at the door each time it opened, my heart racing with every fleeting moment. When she eventually entered, a smile fixed on her face, I felt a wave of anger. How could she appear so carefree after everything? "David, I am so pleased we could meet," she said, her voice laced with insincerity. "Let's skip the pleasantries." My voice was steady and resolute. "I am aware of Mark. I know everything." Her smile wavered, if only for a brief moment. "What do you mean?" "I've collected proof of your infidelity. I've talked to our mutual friends. They are aware of your actions." "David, I interrupted, my heart racing. "I am finished being the punchline of your joke. I will not allow you to manipulate this any further." Her gaze sharpened, a hint of fear flickering across her face. "You wouldn't dare, Dotto." "I certainly would," I responded, my tone calm and firm. "I am seizing control of this story. You aim to disgrace me. How about I reveal to everyone who you truly are?" "David, please, do not proceed with this." Her tone was now filled with urgency. "It is too late for please. You made your decision." As I exited the CAF, I felt a sense of relief, unburdened by the weight of her treachery. I had taken my stand and was prepared to retaliate. The repercussions were immediate and harsh. I observed as Pam's meticulously crafted image began to fall apart. Friends turning against her as they uncovered the truth. The rumors spread rapidly, and I experienced a sense of validation with each hushed discussion I overheard. Every time I noticed Pam's name trending on social media, my heart filled with a blend of contentment and relief. She had revealed her cards, and now it was my opportunity to unveil the truth to the world. However, as the days transitioned into weeks, I came to understand that it was not solely about vengeance. It was about reclaiming my existence, regaining my balance after the turmoil. I spent time with friends who provided support, who reminded me of my value, and gradually, I began to heal. One evening, while seated at my kitchen table, a glass of whiskey in my hand, I contemplated everything that had transpired. I had endured humiliation, betrayal, and the scrutiny of our peers. But I had emerged more robust. I picked up my phone and sent a message to Sarah, inviting her to come over. She had been a steadfast source of support, and I wished to express my gratitude for her unwavering presence throughout it all. When she arrived, I poured drinks for both of us, and we settled onto the couch, enveloped by the warmth of friendship. "You have made significant progress, David," she remarked, a proud smile illuminating her face. "I could not have achieved this without you," I responded, my heart swelling with appreciation. As we conversed and shared laughter, I felt a sense of hope begin to flourish within me. I was prepared to construct a new life, one liberated from the shadows of Pam's treachery. The price of her actions had been steep, but I was resolute in my determination to rise from the ashes, stronger and more resilient than ever.